All right, let's talk about a word you've probably heard a million times, a word that's jumped out of the tech world and is now, well, it's everywhere. Agile. But what does it actually mean? What's the big deal? Let's break it down and demystify it together. So, to get started, let's think about a problem that is just incredibly frustrating. I bet you felt this before. You pour months, maybe even years of work into a big project. You finally get to the finish line, pull back the curtain, and the world has already moved on. It's a huge waste, and it's the exact problem that Agile was born to solve. To really get the solution, we first have to understand the problem. And that means we need to look at the old way of doing things, an approach that's often called the waterfall method. Think about it like this. Imagine you're planning a massive 2-year-long road trip. With the waterfall method, you'd have to plan out every single turn, every gas stop, every single hotel before you even start the car. It's this giant, rigid, upfront plan. But what's the problem with that? Well, what if a new, better highway opens up? Or what if the concert you were driving to gets canceled? The plan can't adapt. You're stuck on the original route, building something that might be completely useless or irrelevant by the time you're done. So, as you can imagine, this rigid, plan-heavy approach was causing some spectacular failures, especially in the super fast-moving world of software. A bunch of brilliant developers basically said, okay, enough is enough. There has to be a better way. So they got together to dream up a completely new philosophy for how to build things. And that moment came in 2001, of all places, at a ski resort in Utah. 17 software developers came together and wrote this short, simple document that would literally change the world of work, the Agile Manifesto. And it's important to note, this wasn't a strict rule book. It was a new philosophy, a new way of thinking. And this quote, this really gets to the heart of it all. Notice the word uncovering. It's not about having one perfect process set in stone. It's about a commitment to always learning, always improving, by actually doing the work. This whole philosophy is built on 4 really important shifts in value. First, they said that the people doing the work and how they talk to each other are way more important than forcing them into some rigid process or making them use a specific tool. It's about human collaboration, not just ticking boxes in a system. Second, they valued creating something that actually works more than writing a ton of paperwork about it beforehand. I mean, what's the goal here? To deliver something that people can use and get value from, right? Not to spend 6 months writing a perfect 1,000-page document based on guesses. Third, instead of locking everything down in a contract at the beginning and then disappearing into a cave for a year, Agile is all about working with the customer, side by side the whole time. Their feedback is a crucial ingredient in the building process, not something you get at the very end. And finally, maybe the most crucial point of all, being able to respond to change is more valuable than just blindly sticking to the original plan. Because let's be real, life happens. The market shifts, customers change their minds, brilliant new ideas pop up. Agile doesn't fight this reality, it embraces it. So, you can see, this isn't just a small adjustment, it's a completely different way of looking at work. It's a total mind shift. Let's put the 2 approaches side by side to really see how deep this change goes. Okay, this table just makes it so clear. On the left, you've got traditional waterfall. The process is sequential, like a relay race. You finish design, hand it off to development, hand it off to testing. You can't really go backward. On the right, Agile is iterative. The team works in these short, repeatable cycles, constantly building and improving a small piece of the product. And that leads to the biggest difference of all, delivery. With waterfall, you get one big delivery at the very end. With Agile, you get frequent deliveries, which means you're getting continuous feedback and delivering value along the way. So the Agile Manifesto gives us the philosophy, the why. But you might be thinking, okay, great, but how do I actually do this on a Tuesday morning with my team? That's where frameworks come into play. And the most popular, most widely used Agile framework by a long shot is called Scrum. Scrum gives you a simple, lightweight structure, a set of roles and rules to help your team actually live out those Agile principles while working on complex problems. The real heartbeat of Scrum is a short, consistent work cycle called a sprint. You can think of a sprint as a mini project that lasts a fixed amount of time, usually 2 to 4 weeks. And the goal is simple. At the end of every single sprint, the team has a finished, working, valuable piece of the product to show for it. So how does a Scrum team actually pull this off, sprint after sprint? Well, the whole framework is built on 3 simple pillars: the roles people play, the artifacts they use to manage the work, and the events that create a consistent rhythm. First up, the roles. You have the product owner. Think of this person as the voice of the customer. Their one and only job is to decide what work needs to be done to deliver the most value to the users. They own the master to-do list. Then you have the Scrum Master. Now, this is not a traditional manager. A better way to think of them is as a coach for the team. Their job is to help the team perform at its highest level, and that means removing any obstacles that are getting in their way. They serve the team. And of course, you have the team itself. These are the people, the engineers, designers, writers, testers, who actually do the hands-on work of building the product. And the two key things to know about them are that they're cross-functional, meaning they have all the skills needed to get the job done, and self-organizing, meaning no one tells them how to do their work. They figure that out together. Next are the artifacts, which are really just simple tools to make the work visible. It all starts with the product backlog. This is the master wish list for the entire product. At the start of a sprint, the team pulls a small chunk from the top of that list to create the sprint backlog. That's their plan for the next few weeks. And the whole point is to turn that plan into a valuable increment, a real, usable piece of the final product. And finally, you have the events that give the sprint its rhythm. It kicks off with sprint planning, where the team decides what they'll build. Every single day, they have a quick 15-minute daily scrum to sync up. At the end of the sprint, they hold a sprint review to show what they built to customers and get feedback. And then they have a sprint retrospective, which is just for the team to ask, how can we get even better next time? It's a complete built-in feedback loop. Phew. Okay, we've covered a lot here, from a manifesto to sprints to backlogs. But what is the big idea? When you zoom all the way out, why does any of this really matter? At its absolute heart, Agile is a mindset. It's not just a process you follow. It's about a fundamental belief in breaking down huge, risky problems into small, manageable chunks. It's about embracing the fact that change is not a problem to be avoided, but an opportunity to learn. It's about collaborating constantly, learning in short cycles, and most of all, empowering smart, creative people to solve problems together. And that's what I want to leave you with. This whole movement started as a better way to build software, sure, but these principles are universal. They apply to almost anything. So the question is, what could you build, or plan, or create differently if you embrace this way of thinking? What big, scary project in your life could you start making progress on, one small sprint at a time? It's something to think about.